Before smartphones, before text messages, before anyone carried the entire internet in their pocket, there was a tiny device that could change your entire day with just one sound: beep. That single beep could mean anything. Maybe it was your boss trying to reach you. Maybe it was a doctor being called to the hospital. Maybe it was a friend sending a secret numeric message only you understood. And the moment it beeped, everything stopped. You'd look down at that small plastic device clipped to your belt and think, all right, who needs me now? Believe it or not, there was a time when this little gadget was more important than the smartphone you carry today. Today on TechVibes, we're diving into the fascinating story of pagers, how they took over the world, why they were once absolutely essential, and how something so powerful could vanish almost overnight. And if you grew up in the 80s or 90s, there's a good chance that sound still lives somewhere in your memory. Beep. Let's rewind for a moment. Imagine life before smartphones. Actually, let's go even further back. Before text messaging, before email, before most people even owned a mobile phone. Communication used to work very differently. If someone wanted to reach you, they usually had one option: call your home phone. And if you weren't home, well, they simply couldn't reach you. You might not hear that message for hours, maybe even days. Today that sounds unbelievable, but that was normal life for decades. But in the late 20th century, something changed. Technology began offering a new kind of connection, a way to reach someone no matter where they were. And that's where pagers entered the story. The idea behind pagers actually dates back much further than most people realize. The earliest versions appeared in the 1950s, mainly used in hospitals. Doctors carried small radio receivers that could alert them when they were needed. Hospitals needed a fast way to reach doctors who were moving around the building, and pagers were perfect for that. They were simple, reliable, and incredibly fast. At first, these early devices only made a beeping sound. When the pager beeped, it meant the doctor needed to call the hospital immediately. But as technology improved, pagers became more sophisticated. By the 1970s and 80s, companies started building pagers that could display phone numbers. Suddenly, the device didn't just beep. It showed who was trying to reach you, and that changed everything. Now imagine you're living in the 1980s. You're a doctor, a firefighter, maybe a technician on call. You clip a pager to your belt before leaving the house. Now you can go anywhere. Dinner with family, a baseball game, grocery shopping. If someone needs you, the pager will tell you. For the first time, professionals could be reachable without being stuck by a phone, and businesses loved that. Hospitals adopted pagers everywhere. Emergency services relied on them. Repair technicians used them. Delivery drivers used them. Even news reporters and stock traders carried them. Pagers quietly became the backbone of communication for countless industries. But something interesting happened in the 1990s. Pagers escaped the workplace and became part of everyday life. Suddenly, it wasn't just doctors and firefighters using them. Teenagers started carrying pagers. College students had them. Young professionals clipped them to their belts like a badge of importance. And if you grew up during that era, you probably remember how cool it felt to own one, because having a pager meant something. It meant someone might need to reach you. And when that beep happened, people noticed. You'd pull it off your belt, glance at the tiny screen, and suddenly everyone wondered, who's paging them? But the real magic came when pagers started supporting numeric messages. This is where things got creative. People began sending coded messages using numbers. Some of them became legendary. For example, if someone paged 143, it meant, I love you, because each number represented the number of letters in each word. 1 letter, 4 letters, 3 letters, I love you. Another classic was 07734. If you flipped the pager upside down, it spelled hello. Teenagers quickly turned pager messaging into a secret language. 911 meant, call me right now. 411 meant information. There were dozens of little codes people invented. It felt like a hidden digital language before texting even existed, and pager companies were booming. One company in particular became a giant, Motorola. Their pagers were everywhere. Small, durable, reliable. By the mid-1990s, millions of Americans carried them every day. At one point, the pager industry had tens of millions of users across the United States. And here's something surprising. Pagers were actually more reliable than early cell phones, because pagers used powerful radio signals that covered huge areas. Even when early cell phones lost signal, pagers could still receive messages. That reliability is one reason hospitals used them for so long. Doctors couldn't afford missed calls during emergencies. A pager signal almost always got through, but there was one big limitation: you couldn't respond. When your pager beeped, it meant one thing: find a phone. So people would rush to the nearest payphone, office phone, or home phone, dial the number that appeared on the pager, and then the real conversation would begin. It seems inconvenient today, but back then it felt revolutionary. And culturally, pagers became iconic. They appeared in movies, TV shows. Hip-hop culture embraced them. In the 90s, you could see rappers proudly wearing pagers clipped to their belts. They symbolized connection, status, and being in demand. But technology never stays still. In the late 1990s, something new began to rise: cell phones. At first, cell phones were expensive and bulky, but they had one huge advantage over pagers. You could talk immediately, no need to find a payphone, no need to call back, just press a button and start speaking. Then texting arrived, and suddenly, cell phones could do everything pagers could, and more. By the early 2000s, pager companies began losing customers quickly. Businesses switched to mobile phones. Consumers followed. And the once unstoppable pager industry began shrinking. Many pager networks shut. Manufacturers stopped producing new models, and what had once been a must-have device slowly disappeared. But here's the surprising part: pagers never completely died. Even today, some hospitals still use them, because despite all our modern technology, pagers remain incredibly reliable. They work during power outages, they work during network congestion, they work in places where cellular signals struggle. During major emergencies, some medical teams still rely on pagers because they simply work. It's fascinating, isn't it? A technology that feels ancient today, still quietly doing its job. But beyond reliability, pagers left behind something bigger. They represent a very specific moment in technological history, a bridge between the analog world and the digital world, between landline phones and smartphones. They were one of the first devices that allowed people to carry communication in their pocket. That idea eventually evolved into everything we use today: smartphones, messaging apps, push notifications. Think about it. Every time your phone buzzes with a notification, that's basically a modern pager, just with a lot more features. By the way, if stories like this bring back memories for you, take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who remembers pager codes, and subscribe to TechVibes for more nostalgic tech stories, because there are so many forgotten gadgets that shape the world we live in today. And the pager is one of the most underrated. It's funny how technology works. Devices that once felt revolutionary eventually become relics, but their influence never really disappears. The pager might look primitive today compared to a smartphone, but at one point it changed the way the world communicated. It gave professionals freedom. It connected people on the move, and it introduced the idea that a small device in your pocket could keep you connected to everyone who mattered. Without pagers, the idea of portable communication might have evolved very differently. And for millions of people who lived through the 80s and 90s, that tiny beep still carries a strange kind of nostalgia, a reminder of a time when technology was simpler, but still powerful enough to change everyday life. So now I'm curious, did you ever own a pager? Do you remember the first time it beeped? Maybe you had a favorite numeric code, or maybe you remember running to a payphone to call someone back. Share your memory down in the comments. Let's relive those pager days together.